Hello and welcome to Broken Entertainment, and today we're going to start a series of videos that is focused on what I call the rise of cynicism in entertainment. But it's also going to be about where we are now, how we got to where we are now, and what comes next. And we're going to focus a lot on movies because they're a very visible sign of this. But this includes video games, comic books, and novels as well. Cynicism has always been kind of in our entertainment to some extent, and sometimes it gets a little stronger than others. And by cynicism, what I mean specifically is this tendency to disregard fans, to disregard good storytelling, to insert fourth wall breaking crap, to insert icon destroying garbage, and to reboot, create sequels, create requels. Okay. Requel being something like Jurassic World, where it's supposedly a sequel, but it's the same exact movie as Jurassic Park, just bigger. Or Force Awakens. And it's all been there. But since a specific year, which we'll get to in a minute, it has overwhelmed the industry. To where we're beginning to ask, what happened to things like customer service? What happened to the customer's always right? What happened to promoting the fans, to getting the fans involved, to getting their interest, to, yes, catering to the fans to an extent? Where we're seeing stuff like Dark Fate completely discard the entire Terminator franchise's history to achieve specific political agendas. Where we're seeing stuff like The Last Jedi, where they completely destroy Luke Skywalker to raise up this beige plank no one cares about. We're talking about those sorts of movies and stuff like Doctor Who cannibalizing itself to make specific political points and agendas. This stuff has gone from background to foreground, to sprinkled here and there, to completely overwhelming. And we're going somewhere from there. It's not all going to stay, it can't all stay cynical. People are rebelling in droves across the board in entertainment. The numbers are way down everywhere you look, and you can blame COVID all you want, but you can go back farther than that. So the question becomes, first, how did we get here? Where did this start? And how do we move forward? What's our future look like? So today we're going to specifically talk about where it started. And a lot of times, historically, we try to pinpoint where things start, and it turns out you really can't. Because you can always go back a little bit farther, and a little bit farther, and a little bit farther, and things tie into this, and this ties into that, and that develops into this. But in this circumstance, you can really pinpoint a year. And there's a reason for that, and his name is Donald Trump. I'm not blaming Donald Trump, but this was a response to the election of Donald Trump. We'll get to that too. But the year, it starts in two places. It starts in comics actually earlier than the election of Donald Trump in 2016. It starts in the year 2015. And it starts with the all-new, all-different Marvel. It's launched from 2015 to 2019. What did it bring in? It brought in Ironheart. It brought in Kamala Khan. It brought in Lady Thor. It brought in all these things nobody liked in Marvel Comics for the better part of 4 to 5 years. Where gender identity, political identity, racial identity overtook storytelling. And you can go back, and I'm not going to do it here because the Comic-Con numbers are all over the place now and their website's a mess. But you can go back and look at the numbers, and you can see year after year the decline in comic book sales, starting roughly in 2015 and then accelerating afterwards to the point where the industry is essentially dead. But this is where it all starts. This is where you begin to see someone like I was at the time, who's new to comics and says, I want to read about Thor. That Thor movie that I just recently watched because I'm slow, that was pretty neat. I really liked the character. And then you walk into the comic book store and there is no Thor. You're like, who the hell's this? Oh, that's Thor now. No, that's a woman. Thor's a dude. Oh, where's Iron Man? Iron Man was cool. Oh, well, Iron Man's been replaced with Ironheart. Ironheart didn't come out exactly in 2015, but that's where the agenda came from. Oh, who's Miss Marvel? I've never heard of her. Oh, well, she's a Muslim. Okay, well, great. And? Oh, she's also a superhero. Okay, yeah, but what, like, tell me about her character. Well, what do you mean? You know, Kamala Khan is purely her racial and religious identity, and his religion she basically doesn't even follow. And you go, okay, well, what happened to all the characters that are in the movies? Oh, well, they've been replaced. They've been downgraded. Great. And it starts there. But it doesn't end there. Because this attitude gets worse online. As people reject Ironheart, as people reject Kamala Khan, as people reject character after character after character, replacing character after character, Marvel's creators start to go out and they go, oh no, you're wrong, you're a bigot. So people turn away. And they just do it over and over and over again. Whenever somebody doesn't like an agenda-driven thing, you're a bigot. You're a racist. You're a misogynist. You just hate women. It just goes on and on and on. And that's where comics delivered us to. And that's where comics delivered itself to. And it starts here, accelerates afterwards, but it doesn't end there. It's not just comics. It's everything. The NBA spent the whole year being political as all hell. The NFL dabbled in politics. And their numbers show it. The NBA basically shot itself in the face. And the NFL shot itself in the foot. And you look at that and you see the movies, and the movie industry is declining rapidly. Doctor Who's fan base has fallen off a cliff. Star Wars makes less money with every single movie. And it's the same pattern. Over and over again. This cynical response to fandom. This cynical response to people not liking what they're doing. Because what they're doing is itself cynical. Inserting politics. Inserting agenda. Replacing story with ideology, replacing character with checkboxes, replacing pre-existing canon with canon that fits the narrative. And then when you turn away, you're a bigot. When you don't go to see the Harley Quinn movie because it looks like trash, it's because you hate women. Never mind that women didn't go see it either. When you don't like what they did in The Last of Us 2, it's not their problem, it's yours. It's not the fact they made a bad game, it's the fact that the fans don't like women or trans people. You see, we've all seen it. We've all seen it, and we've all wondered what the hell. And it has spread and spread and spread with every passing year. From segment to segment to segment of the entertainment industry. It's in sports, it's in movies, it's in television, it's in comic books, it's in novels. Go to a bookstore and look for new authors. Actively look for new authors and tell me what you see. What you mostly see is franchises. What you mostly see is franchises and dead people. And no offense to those people, because they were great storytellers. And I'm not saying their books shouldn't be sold. But is there a reason they need to take up half the shelf space? Is there a reason Game of Thrones, for example, Song of Ice and Fire, needs to take up 4 shelves? No. Other than that's what they've decided makes money. I'm not saying it doesn't sell. But the cynicism that is now in the publishing industry is a little bit of a different form. That is what's going to make money. And not what's going to make some money. What's going to make all the money. And it's what's written by the people we approve of. And that's a narrowing window. If you're not gay, write a book with a gay central character. And try to get that published. Most of the time, they'll tell you it's not your story to tell. So here we are. Everything is cynical. Nothing is happy. Nothing is good storytelling. Even seemingly innocent movies. Wonder Woman 1984. Not overly political, but it just assumed you'd go watch it and like it. And why? Well, you watched Wonder Woman. There's no need for a good story. It's Wonder Woman. Come on. Oh, if you didn't like it, you're probably a bigot. Never mind that it's written by someone who clearly does not know how to write a superhero movie. So, where did this originate? As I said, in Marvel, it originates in 2015. In movies, we have a Patient Zero. 2017, The Last Jedi. Patient Zero. When do you think they started working on The Last Jedi? 2016? 2015? And what is The Last Jedi's great sin other than to raise up Rey as the ultimate demigoddess of Star Wars? Well, it destroys Luke. It destroys Han Solo, was already destroyed. Quite frankly, it destroys Kylo Ren. It destroys Finn. It gives you a horrible character in Holdo who mistreats everyone who happens to be male. And gets most of the rebellion killed because she won't talk to anybody about her plan. And kills herself in a maneuver that essentially destroys Star Wars. Because now none of the space comment makes any sense. And then it destroys it because when people didn't like The Force Awakens and they went out and they said, you know, I didn't like The Force Awakens because it felt like A New Hope. There wasn't a huge amount of backlash to that. But when people didn't like The Last Jedi, you're all bigots. And that's when that started. If you think about the movies that come before The Last Jedi and after The Last Jedi and the responses to both, it's night and day. You can go back, okay? You can go back and look at 2014 and probably pick out a movie or two. You can go back to 2015 in The Force Awakens, where you get deadbeat dad Han Solo, and you get the introduction of Rey, and you get the whole stupid "don't hold my hand" thing. You can go back to 2013 with Iron Man 3, where Tony Stark is depressed and beaten up, where they subvert your expectations with the villain, and where the main character of the movie has to get his ass saved at the end. Instead of winning because he's the awesome main character, he wins because his girlfriend comes in and saves him. But those are isolated incidents. And they're not complete cynicism because the response to criticism was muted. You know, and I picked Frozen because Frozen is essentially Disney telling you how much it hates itself for whatever the runtime of Frozen is. And they have a male character, and he exists basically for no reason. You could take him out, and it wouldn't change a whole lot. And the other male character, of course, is the villain. But in each instance, they're isolated. But 2015 starts with Marvel, and then you go into 2017. 1 year after the election of Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't do anything. It was the response of many in the entertainment industry to a man that they all hated. That response was, we're going to educate everybody who voted for him so they don't do it again. Our society is broken, therefore it is our jobs as entertainers to go out and fix it. And that's when you start to see, oh, you didn't like this movie? Oh, it's probably because you hate women. And silly claims like, this is the first female character of blah 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 who has ever done insert thing here, even though you can go back and look at the 1980s and the 1990s and the 1970s and the 1960s and see examples of all of these things already being done. And you have this huge shift, this massive paradigm shift in entertainment, the likes of which I don't think we've ever seen. Because it's always cyclical, it's always kind of waffled around. Sometimes it's happier, sometimes it's darker. But the turn on the customer starts with The Last Jedi. Outside of comics. And from there it accelerates. And it becomes everything. You don't like Charlie's Angels? You're a misogynist. You don't like Terminator Dark Fate? You're a misogynist. You don't like the new hero in Terminator Dark Fate? You're a misogynist and a racist. You don't like insert movie here. You don't like The Rise of Skywalker. You're all the things. And that's how we got to where we are. Because it's one thing to put out bad movies and then people just say, okay, well, next one will be better. It's another thing to say, you didn't like my movie? Well, you're a horrible person. Because when you start to say that, people just turn off the TV. People walk away from the comic book shop. People stop going in to pick up novels because everything's a franchise or a dead guy. Because you go to get published and they tell you this story isn't yours to tell. You can't have a character that has a different skin color than you. You can't have a main character that's a different gender than you. You can't have a main character that was poorer than you. You can't have a main character that isn't the same identity as you. That's not your story to tell. Never mind that we have examples of those stories told by people who don't fit those things that are fantastic. The movie, I would argue, is the greatest Disney movie possibly of all time. Is Moana. Was not told by Samoans. It was informed by Samoans. It was not told by them. And you have one of the greatest Disney movies of all time. On every level. The animation is... I haven't seen animation matching what they accomplished in Moana since it was made. The story of Moana is very straightforward, very simple. But that's not where its greatness lies. Its greatness lies in the skill behind everything they did. And there are countless other examples. You don't have to be something to write a story about it. You have to respect it. That's it. And they just tell you over and over and over and over again how horrible you are. And what do? You turn off the TV, you put down the book, you walk away from the comic book shop, you you quit playing the game, and you stop watching football, you stop watching the NBA. And that's where we're going to go in another video, but this is where it started. It starts primarily with The Last Jedi, and it spreads from there like a cancer. And what else do we have? Because it's not just The Last Jedi. You know what movies follow that. Terminator Dark Fate. Destroyed the entire franchise. And why? So they could forcibly replace a white male character with a non-white female character. What else did we get? The end of Doctor Who. Why? So they could put a female character lead in there and then tell you that the character you always loved has always been female. Why do they want to tell you that? Well, Trump was elected. They think anyone who voted for Trump hates women. And that's the problem with hatred, isn't it? Is that you reduce yourself to thinking everybody who disagrees with you is horrible. And that's what I want to remove from entertainment, is hatred and cynicism. Because I don't hate anyone. I don't hate SJWs. I just don't like what they're doing. I don't care what politics you are. I just want to entertain you. Go do your politics in your own time. I don't care. And I'm not in any way defending Trump. I'm just pointing out what happened. It was a direct response to an election. And it's not slowing down. It's going to speed up. Because now they think they've failed and haven't hammered it home hard enough. So that's why you're getting... Plus, the next wave of movies was all produced before this new election. So you're going to get the MCU. All different. All new Marvel. All of this needs to come out. When you take out cynicism, when you take out hatred, when you take out politics, you get RoboCop, you get Moana, you get Alien, you get Iron Man. Just to name a handful. Terminator 2, Doctor Who. These all came from places of good storytelling first. Yes, sometimes with allegory, but that's different. And they never, ever told the fans, no, the problem with the movie is you. But that's what they do now, and that's what they're going to do with the next phase of Marvel. That's what they're doing with DC's comics right now. And it's going to spread and it's going to accelerate. The first companies to back off of this were actually sports. And that's because sports are very sensitive to money. But a lot of these entertainment companies have a whole lot of fake money. So, where do we go from here? And what do we do to take the hatred out and the cynicism out? And now that we know where it's from, now that we know where it originates and what year it starts in, we can go back and look at things and point them out and see where that happened to each individual type of entertainment and each specific case. And we can begin to talk about the damage it's done. That'll be next. Because that damage and what's happening now with people, because I'm going to give you some numbers related to entertainment, but outside of movies, television, etc., that are going to show you, in conjunction with where things went with movies and sports and television, what happened when they went hard in the paint for this. And we're gonna break that down, and because all of that sets up what comes next. And they're very important elements to what comes next. And they've got nothing to do with major studios, and they've got nothing to do with major publishers, and they've got nothing to do with major television corporations. So if you liked the video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you next time.